On a warm autumn afternoon, two little girls, Ayleen and Alice, sat cross-legged on the attic floor of Alice's house, their faces illuminated by a shaft of golden sunlight. The attic smelled faintly of mothballs and cedar, a labyrinth of forgotten trunks, dusty bookshelves, and antique furniture draped with white sheets. In Alice's hands was an old leather-bound book they had found while exploring the attic a week ago. Its pages were yellowed and brittle, the text faded but still legible. It was filled with strange tales of enchantments and spells, the kind that would make any adventurous child's heart race. "There it is," Alice said, her voice barely above a whisper. Her finger traced the faded ink of one particular page, the spell to summon the devil. Aileen's wide green eyes grew even larger. "Do you think it's real?" Alice shrugged, her braided brown hair swinging. "Only one way to find out." Ayleen hesitated, her gaze darting to the large antique mirror leaning against the far wall. It was an imposing thing, its frame carved with intricate floral patterns that seemed alive in the dim light. "I don't know, Alice. What if it's dangerous?" "That's what makes it exciting." Alice grinned, her confidence infectious. "It says here we just need a saucer of water, a candle, and to say devil 3 times. That's all. It'll do it, and you can watch." Ayleen fidgeted with the hem of her sweater but finally nodded. "Okay, but promise you won't do anything crazy." "I promise," Alice said, though the glint in her eyes suggested mischief. The girls gathered the items they needed: a saucer from an old tea set, a stubby candle, and a box of matches from a cabinet downstairs. They set everything up in front of the mirror, the saucer of water placed carefully on the floor, and the candle lit and held steady in Alice's hand. The room grew still and the air heavy with anticipation. "Ready?" Alice asked, her voice tinged with excitement. Ayleen nodded nervously. Alice turned toward the mirror, her reflection flickering in the candlelight. She took a deep breath and said, "Devil, devil, devil." For a moment nothing happened. The room remained silent, save for the faint hiss of the candle flame. Ayleen exhaled in relief, her tension melting into a nervous jiggle. But then the reflection in the mirror shifted. The glass rippled like the surface of a pond disturbed by a stone. Alice's reflection began to distort, her features twisting into something grotesque. Ayleen gasped and scrambled back, her heart pounding. "Alice, stop!" she cried. But Alice couldn't move. She was transfixed, her eyes locked on the mirror as a shadowy figure began to materialize behind her reflection. It was tall, with gleaming red eyes and a sly, toothy grin. "Hello, little one," the figure said, its voice smooth and anti-sing. "You called for me." Alice's mouth went dry, but she managed to nod. Who are you?" "I am the devil, as you wished," the figure replied, bowing with exaggerated flair. "And I have come to show you something wonderful. Step through the mirror, Alice." The surface of the mirror shimmered, revealing a portal to a vibrant, surreal world. It was a paradise of delights. Colorful landscapes dotted with candy trees and rivers of chocolate, children laughing and playing without a care in the world, adults lounging with drinks in hand, and not a single sign of work or worry. "Come," the devil urged. "It's a world where all your dreams come true." Alice hesitated, glancing back at Ayleen. "Don't go," Ayleen pleaded. "It's a trick." But curiosity burned brighter than caution. Before Ayleen could stop her, Alice stepped through the mirror, the glass swallowing her like water. On the other side, Alice found herself in a dazzling landscape that seemed too good to be true. The air was sweet, the sky an eternal twilight painted in shades of pink and orange. Children frolicked in meadows of marshmallow grass, their cheeks round and ruddy from endless feasting. Adults laughed and danced, holding goblets that never emptied. Music filled the air, a cheerful melody that made Alice's feet tap on their own accord. "Isn't it wonderful?" the devil said, appearing beside her with a flourish. Alice nodded, her eyes wide. It's amazing, but isn't anyone worried about course or school or anything? The devil chuckled. Why worry when you can be happy? Here there are no rules, no responsibilities, just fun. A boy ran up to Alice, offering her a brightly wrapped candy. She took it hesitantly and unwrapped it, revealing a shimmering sweet that glowed faintly in her hand. She popped it into her mouth and gasped as a burst of flavors exploded on her tongue. It was the most delicious thing she had ever tasted. "This is incredible," she exclaimed. The boy laughed. "There's plenty more where that came from." Alice spent what felt like hours exploring the miraculous world. She ate cakes that never made her full, rode on carousels that spun through the clouds, and danced to music that seemed to come from the very ground. But as the sunless sky stretched on, a strange unease began to creep over her. She noticed that the children, though laughing, seemed eerily identical, their smiles frozen and their eyes vacant. The adults' laughter had a hollow ring, and the sweets that once delighted her now tasted cloying and artificial. "This isn't right," Alice muttered, her excitement fading. The devil appeared again, his grin sharper than before. "Is something the matter, dear Alice? This place, it's not real, is it?" "Of course, it's real," the devil said smoothly. "Everything you've ever wanted is here. All you have to do is stay." Alice backed away, her unease growing. "I don't want to stay. I want to go home." The devil's grin faltered, replaced by a cold, calculating gaze. "Home? Why return to a world of rules and hardship when you can have this paradise?" "But this isn't paradise," Alice said firmly. She clenched her fists, her courage rising. "It's a trap." The devil's eyes narrowed. "So be it," he hissed. "But you don't leave without a price." The world around her began to warp and darken, the cheerful music turning discordant. Shadows closed in and the devil's form loomed larger, his red eyes blazing. In a moment of desperation, Alice made the sign of the cross, her trembling fingers tracing the gesture. The devil shrieked, recoiling as if burned, and the world shattered like glass. Alice jolted awake, her body heavy and aching. She was lying in a hospital bed, her left hand bandaged and throbbing with pain. The room was sterile and quiet, the faint hum of medical equipment filling the air. "Alice!" Ayleen's voice broke through her haze. Alice turned her head to see her friend sitting by her bedside, tears streaming down her face. "What happened?" Alice croaked. You fainted," Ayleen stammered. "The mirror shattered and you cut your hand. I ran to get your parents and they called an ambulance. I was so scared." Alice frowned, her memories a jumbled blur of vivid images. The mirror, the devil, was it real? Ayleen hesitated, her expression troubled. "I don't know. I didn't see anything in the mirror, just you sitting there, and then it broke." Alice stared at her bandaged hand, doubt gnawing at her. Had it all been a dream, a hallucination brought by fear and adrenaline? As she pondered, her fingers brushed against something in her hospital gown pocket. She pulled it out and froze. It was a candy, wrapped in the same shimmering foil as the ones from the devil's world. Her heart skipped a beat. Was it a proof of her journey, or just a coincidence? She couldn't say. But as she stared at the candy, she resolved one thing. She would never summon the devil again, and neither would Ayleen.